Today is going to be a 2021 year in review and goals, hopes, resolutions, aspirations, whatever you want to call it for 2022. I did this video back in 2018 and 19. I might have done it other years as well, but I wanted to continue the tradition because this year has been a very monumental year, and 2022 may very well also be, so I wanted to put out my goals and what I did for the last year to remind myself of where I've come from and where I'm going. So the way this works is I will go month by month throughout the year of 2021, and then I will go into some just bigger goals that I want to accomplish or am hopefully achieving by 2022. My 2021 did not start so great. My brother passed away in January, and it was very unexpected, and I won't go into any further details about that, but it was very unexpected, to say the very least. A really rough way to start the year. So I was also vaccinated with the COVID-19 vaccine, and I applied to grad school, and lastly, a big thing was I bought my first car. Moving into February of 2021, I traveled for the first time since the pandemic really hit, and it wasn't necessarily for a great reason. It was to go back home where I'm from to see my family and have a funeral for my brother. Even though I was fully vaccinated by that point, it hadn't been a full 6 weeks yet, so I was nervous to get COVID. Didn't know what to expect. I hadn't seen my family since 2017, so I saw my sister, my brother, my mom, my nieces and nephew, all of them I hadn't seen since 2017, so it was kind of a bittersweet reunion slash memorial for my brother. So that happened, and I also started having tooth problems. I guess I had a bad cavity in my tooth that I let go for way too long, and I had to start having dental surgery and getting fillings for the first time in my life, which was not fun. And I really just continued to work. There wasn't really anything in February other than those things that happened. Moving into March of 2021, not a whole lot happened this month. I did pay off 2 different credit cards that I had been trying to work on. Ended up having to get a root canal and a crown put on my tooth, so that was extremely expensive. And March, I think it was March or April, was the month that I officially got accepted into grad school. April of 2021, there really wasn't anything to brag about. I continued working, prepping, figuring out where I want to do my practicum for school, if I wanted to stay where I was at, and I started being able to see clients in person around April, March timeframe. So I had been home for an entire year and finally was able to move on to go working in the community again around that time, maybe even a little bit before, but there really wasn't anything that happened in April that was big. May comes around and I put my 2 weeks notice in for the case management job that I had. I had worked there for 2 full years. So May, I really just focused on closing out my cases that I could, making sure that they would be okay when I was gone, and slowly transitioning to them to someone else. And I quit, and that was a really weird thing. I had almost worked there for 2 full years, but for my mental health, I felt that I was being burnt out, wasn't being paid well enough, and was ready to move on. So I decided not to do my practicum at the place that I was at, even though now I kind of regret it because my position is getting like a $4 raise come the new year. So I could have been making $4 more than what I was making then. And I'm definitely not making even $4 less than what I was now. So that's unfortunate, but it all works out the way it's supposed to, I guess. May, June, July, there wasn't a whole lot that happened. I basically stayed home with Trey. We finally started going to the mall and kind of going out into public a little bit more, because for the last year and a half before that, we really stayed home unless we had to go to the grocery store. We didn't travel except for that one time I traveled to go see my family and for my brother's funeral. Other than that, we really did stay home and like isolate ourselves from the world, really, and didn't see anybody really for the holidays that previous year in 2020. Like, it was a very weird time. So we spent a lot of time in 2021 summer swimming. We took the cats for walks. We kind of just stayed outside and tried to stay focused that way through just spending time together. So in June, I also started my practicum placement, and I also started summer school, and the classes lasted until the end of July, and I passed all of my classes with a 4.0 or straight A's, and I got to see my family, my extended family, so like my aunts and uncles, for 4th of July for the first time, basically since my grandma's funeral 2 years ago. So that was nice to catch up with some people, but not everybody could make it because of COVID. But that was the first family event that we had since COVID hit where everybody was able to be around each other because it was outside. June, my husband and I also celebrated our 11 years dating anniversary, and we also got to take family pictures with Trey's family. And we've done that every year except for last year for a couple of years now, but we got to finally do that outside and get some updated pictures because we now have nieces and nephews in the family since we took pictures last that weren't there before. So that's really all that happened this summer. There wasn't a ton of excitement. We didn't travel anywhere like we normally do for the last few years other than in 2020, but my cat is acting wild. But that was really the only thing that happened in the summer leading up into August. So August, school started once again. I had summer classes I had to take because you have to have a certain amount of electives, and then you have your core classes that you have to take. I'd have 9 or 10 credits of electives, so I took almost all of them but 2 credits that I have to take in the spring semester, but that's beside the point. But school started in August for me, and Runa's birthday, we are assuming, based off of when she was rescued, is around August. So Runa technically turned 1 in August, which was weird because we got her when she was about 3-4 months old. So September rolls around and I continued with school. We stayed home for the most part, and then we did end up going to the Kansas State Fair together, Trey and I, for the first time ever in our relationship, which is weird because we've been together for 11 years. But we decided, because we mask up and we're vaccinated fully, that, and it's outside, that we would be comfortable with going to the state fair. So we went to the state fair in September, and that was really the only biggest thing that happened. Other than that, we just stayed home, and I continued with school and my practicum, which was at home for the most part. So in October, the only thing that really was a big event was that we moved into a house from our apartment complex. We've moved 3 times in the last 3 years, every single year, for a different variety of reasons. This time we moved because we wanted to live in a house and have bigger space, and the apartment complex that we were at before, they raised the rent ridiculously high, and we just did not want to justify paying that. Because I'm in grad school and I'm not making as much money as I was previous to grad school, and I quit my full-time job to go back to school, we just couldn't afford it or justify it. So that's how we ended up here. And then we went to a haunted house in October and a pumpkin patch and did like all the October-y things. So we really started doing more stuff out in the community and like being around people more and more in the pandemic because we're vaccinated and felt safe. So November rolled around and we celebrated our 2-year wedding anniversary, and that's really the only thing I can think of that happened in November, to be honest, just because there wasn't a lot that happened. I was really deep into getting projects done for school and finishing out the semester, so we didn't do like anything in November other than school and work. So that takes us to this month in December. So a few things happened in December. The first one, I turned 25. Which is weird because I was like 22 or 23 when the pandemic started. I'm 25 now, and I finished school. I have a 4.0 GPA still, finished all of my classes for the fall semester with a 4.0, all straight A's. I continued on with my practicum. I'm still in my practicum, and I'm on winter break now. We just celebrated Christmas at Trey's family's house, and we will probably be celebrating New Year's Day and Eve here at home because Trey works in the morning on New Year's Day. So not a lot of fun activities going on in the month of December. So 2021 really had some low lows and then really high highs. I feel like every year in my 20s has been very monumental, where I'm changing things, I'm moving, I'm going to school, I'm finishing school, I'm moving to a new city. There's just so much stuff that's always going on, and it's ever evolving and changing, and I'm ever evolving as a human and as a person and an individual. I'm constantly growing and learning from my mistakes, learning boundaries and setting boundaries up for myself. But overall, the year of 2021 was good, but this was also the year where I had a lot of childhood trauma resurface, and I had a lot of anxiety resurface. I started therapy again in 2021. I don't remember what month, but I'm not going to see her anymore. I just didn't feel that connection and felt that we weren't on the right page with my treatment. So I'm going to wait until I can get a therapist that specializes in childhood trauma and inner child work. Those are kind of the big things that happened in 2021. Not a whole lot, just because it's been a pandemic. We haven't been able to travel. I'm in school, so we don't make a lot of money right now. So things have just kind of stagnated a little bit, which I'm fine with. And I'm looking forward to the year of 2022 because a lot of changes are hopefully going to come that are very positive to mine and Trey's life. So I guess we'll transition from the review to the resolutions or goals or hopes or whatever you want to call them for the year of 2022. So I have a 2022 planner, and I wrote down a whole long giant list in the back of things that I want to happen, or things that I'm looking forward to, or things that I am hoping to happen or continue to happen in 2022. So I will go through the list and elaborate when I need to, skip over what's not necessarily very important for you guys, but it's kind of a generic list. Some of the stuff is very much every year everybody says the same thing, but then there's some things very specific to me and what I want to work on and what I want to do and goals for myself. So I'm just going to read through the list and let you hear my goals for 2022, because why not? So the first thing I have is drink more water. Pretty obvious. I want to eat foods that make my body feel good. I want to take my vitamins. I started taking prenatal vitamins and vitamin D3 and vitamin C. So the next thing is start a family. That is the goal for me that I want in 2022. I want to try to work on getting pregnant at some point. I don't know exactly when that will happen. I'm not going to go into detail about any of that, but I will be documenting that whole journey. But that is the major goal. So part of that goal is making sure I'm taking the correct vitamins and taking care of my body and spirit and mind to prepare me for that journey. The next thing is I want to graduate from grad school, and I want to have at least a 3.5 GPA for the spring semester. The spring semester is a lot harder than the fall and summer semesters, so I'm not going to put the stipulation on me that I have to get a 4.0, all straight A's. But I do think that it's important to maintain a high GPA in grad school and work really hard for that. So the next thing I have on the list is save $2,000 for the baby fund that we have. Right now we have $1,000 in there, but I want to save an additional $2,000 for the year of 2022 because we don't have paid maternity leave, and I want to take 6 weeks off wherever I am in my journey of working or not working, or practicum or not practicum. Wherever I am, I want to be able to take 6 weeks off at least to spend with my family. And in order to do that, I have to save money up to be able to pay my bills, and also save money up to be able to buy things for a baby. So $2,000 additionally for the baby fund for the year of 2022. And a goal that I'm not sure is possible for 2022, but I want to travel to at least one single state with Trey that is not Kansas and not Oklahoma. And I want it to be something that we do together, even if it's just a weekend, to experience a new state that neither of us have been to. Another thing is I want to move my body in positive ways, and I want to go to the gym to get stronger. So I used to have this mentality, I'm going to lose weight. That's my only goal, lose weight. I'm starting to shift into thinking about it from a positive perspective or a neutrality perspective, where I don't want to lose weight, but I want to make my body feel good. And if weight loss happens as a result of taking care of my body, that's okay. If it doesn't, that's okay as well. I want to build muscle. I want to feel stronger, and I don't want to be tired. I don't want to not take care of my body anymore. So that's part of that goal. So another part of the taking care of myself is continuing a inner child healing work that I've been doing, and childhood trauma, working through that. Part of that, I want to listen to or read 3 books for learning. It could be 3 different learning criteria. It could be anything as long as I'm learning something. So it could be about self-help, it could be about racism, it could be about history, it could be about anything as long as I'm learning. And then I want to read 2 books that's more for personal enjoyment. So like romance novels or a mystery or something that's more fun, that is more enjoyable, and not where I have to think critically and be immersive in that sense, where I'm trying to learn something and be a better human, where I just read it for fun, like a Twilight novel. I want to hit 20,000 followers on TikTok, and then I want to hit 2,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm right now at like 12,000 on TikTok and like 1.7K on YouTube. I haven't been focusing as much on YouTube as I have been on TikTok. TikTok is just easier for me, and it's just faster. I don't have to edit a video, which I don't like editing. So it's just faster on TikTok, but I'm gonna try to focus on YouTube and create content for myself and not put pressure on uploading every single Friday like I have in the past. I just want to upload when I want to upload and do videos when I want to do them and just have fun. Another goal is I want to get a job after graduation. So I'll be done with school in May, and then in June I'm able to start applying for and starting new jobs. So that's a big goal. I want to find a job that pays well and that has good benefits, and start that in June or July. So that's a big goal for myself. That's kind of necessary. And then I want to pay off one more debt that I currently have by the end of 2022 at some point. So I have a couple of credit cards left and a personal loan that I'm working on. So I want to pay off at least one debt at some point in 2022 and feel good about that and continue with getting to be debt-free. Another thing is I want to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. We used to have it in 2020, or maybe it was 2021. I think it was 2021 because we used it for our deposit to move. So we used to have an emergency fund, and that went away really quickly with moving. So I want to re-save that up for 2022 just so that we have a baby fund, we have an emergency fund, and we have money to pull from if we need to, and kind of as a safety net. Another one that's kind of silly, but something that I want is I have a budget planner and I have a regular planner, and I want to use them and stick to our budget. I want to work on my hobbies. So I want to do photography, I want to do poetry, I want to work on resin work and making earrings out of clay, and I want to sell some earrings and some of my resin work in 2022, even if it's just to family friends on Facebook. Another thing I wrote down is I want to do a fun activity with Trey at least once a month and spend quality time together where we aren't just sitting in front of the TV and watching a TV series. So if that's going for a walk together once a month, or trying a new restaurant, or doing something where it's just us and we're spending quality time and we're spending time doing something we enjoy, so going skating or going to the bowling alley, just doing something, having fun little dates, and continuing to spend time with each other even throughout the busy year. Another thing I wrote down is to donate to an animal shelter and a homeless shelter of some kind, or domestic violence shelter. I want to start donating more to shelters for animals and for humans because it's important to do both. Another thing that everybody, I think, in the history of world does write down on their goals for 2022 or any year is I want to eat more at home and eat less out. And that's a very hard goal to do, but I don't want to spend money on things that are a waste, like eating out. And I want to cook more at home, and I want to bake. I want to enjoy cooking and enjoy baking and take the time to do those things. Another thing is I want to plan a vacation / honeymoon. Charlie and I have been married 2 years and have not been able to go on a honeymoon. We were too poor whenever we got married, and then the pandemic hit, so it just never happened. So I want to plan a vacation / honeymoon for us where we go to a place for an extended period of time, even if it's just a weekend. Another one I wrote down is I want to work on reducing stress and anxiety. That's kind of a given. And then I want to figure out my triggers for HS. I have a skin condition called HS. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like hidradenitis suppurativa. That's absolutely not how you say it, but I will put it on the screen, or I'll put it somewhere in the description on how to spell it if you need me to. But I just want to find out what my triggers are and figure out how to treat it and go see a dermatologist. In order to do that, I have to get health insurance, and I don't have health insurance right now because I quit my job and I'm in school. So after June, when I get a job and I get health insurance, I can see a dermatologist and figure out my triggers. Part of that also is I want to get health insurance. That is a major goal for myself. I want Trina to have full health insurance through my job. I want to let go of what I cannot control. There's been a couple of things the last couple of years that I've not been in control of, that I've let consume me, and I want to let those go, not worry about them, not let them take so much time and space in my mind, and just learn to let go of what I can't control. I want to declutter my house and let go of things that I've held on to that don't serve me a purpose or make me happy anymore.